Hi, this is Shannon Port, and I welcome you to the Art of the Feminine podcast. It's really good to be here. Today we are streaming live on February 8th, 2017, and it's good to be back. This is our first podcast since mid-December in 2016. I've been away for a while, and so I'm really looking forward to taking a look at all of the archetypal energies that we're seeing right now, because it's, as most of you probably know, and probably why you're tuning in, we're in uncharted territory right now, and it's February. It feels as if we've kind of crossed into a new energy. Just even moving out of January. January was a big month, and it was filled with a lot of awakenings, a lot of emotion, a lot of really thinking about what is happening in the world, what is happening in our own lives, and kind of making a plan of action for this next year. I feel like most people that I've been connecting with are kind of reevaluating everything and deciding what direction that they want to go in. And so, it's good to see some people are on live. I just announced it last night. And so I'm not sure if I have the chat on, but I might. And so if you, as we get going, if you want to type in questions, I'll see if that works today. That would be great. All right. So yes, I've been away. In December, I had the opportunity to travel west, and I spent some time in Colorado. I was in Boulder for a while, and really, really enjoyed it. It was my first time in Boulder, Colorado, and it was really a wonderful place to spend the holidays. And so I also got to kind of feel the energy and what's happening in that part of the country. And I know there's a lot going on in Colorado, so it was kind of nice to check in there. And then in January, I took some time, and so through the stream that I work with and the energy that I work with, I was asked to just really step back, and rather than getting kind of pulled into the emotion that's on the planet right now, really, really step back, go inward, and take some time to really feel the big picture. That's what I was asked to do, to really just deepen my work and to have a greater understanding of where we're at and how that relates to some of the things that I'm bringing in, and to really observe and to really watch how energy moves on this planet. It's fascinating. Most of the time we're so busy in the detail of our own lives, or we're caught up in the emotion of something, if it's not personal, something that's happening on the world stage. And so when we're always in that flow, sometimes we don't realize that it's been a while since we just kind of stood back and observed, as if we were watching a theater, a show at the theater, whether it's a cinema or whether it's a stage. You can look at it either way. This human life and the way it plays out in the world is really, it's really very similar to theater and to drama. And today we're going to look at that. We are going to look at it through the theme, or the title that I picked for this podcast today. And so we are here to talk about the full moon lunar eclipse happening in Leo on February 10th and 11th for some parts of the world. So today's February 8th. We have a couple days. This is our first eclipse in Leo in a very long time. We are moving out of the axis of Virgo and Pisces, and we are moving into the axis of Leo and Aquarius. And I have to say, I feel like this is really, really exciting and really, really powerful in terms of, for all of you that follow, that are on a spiritual path, or that are very interested in the consciousness awakening on this planet. We are entering into the age of Aquarius. We're leaving the Piscean age, and we're entering into a whole new paradigm of consciousness in the age of Aquarius. So because the eclipses for the next couple years are now going to be happening on the axis of Leo and Aquarius, the energies that are moving are very, very aligned and synchronized with what is happening on the planet. And so I can't wait to kind of dive in and start to talk about all of it. There's a lot, and there's a lot of fun stuff, and a lot of things that came in today that just really allow us to be active and to maybe play a different role than we thought we were going to play. So because there's so much drama. I mean, it's real, but there's so much drama in the world. And so sometimes we get kind of hypnotized by it or anesthetized by it, by just watching. And we forget that we have this glorious life that we've been given. We have this body and this intellect and this heart. Leo, the heart, we have the passion of the human heart, and we have the ability to play a profound role in this theater. And that's what Leo's all about. Leo is the actor, and Leo's the celebrity. Leo is the motion picture. Leo is the drama. Leo is going to bring a lot of people into a new, these Leo eclipses are going to bring a lot of people into a new role that for some maybe hadn't ever even considered that they'd be playing such an active role in the coming years on the planet. So we're in 2017. It's a big year. This is the age of Aquarius, and I'm actually working on a newsletter that I'm going to send out tomorrow called The Age of Revelation. The Age of Revelation. We are in a year, 2017. 17 is the star, and the star is Aquarius. The other number in the correspondence for 2017 is 10. So the year is a 10, but the year in the as far as the counting the years in the century, we're on a 17. 17 is the star, and it's Aquarius. So this year is really, it's kind of the beginning of the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is about revelation. It's really truly about lifting the veils. And so I believe that we are going to see a lot of that this year. It's already starting, but there's much more to come. And so, all right, I want to just kind of give you an idea where we're going. I broke it down into 3 categories. So first we will talk about this axis. We'll talk about what is Leo and what is Aquarius, and how this is going to be different from the Virgo Pisces eclipses that we had for 2 years. And by the way, those were very, very intense. I believe that those past couple years with the eclipses in Virgo and Pisces were some of the most intense emotionally, and for kind of transmuting and bringing up the dark, than we have seen in a long time. There were I know just from the people that I work with on a daily basis, the people from all over the world, some of the most heavy duty processing of those things that we've been carrying around, that we want to kind of look at, transmute, and heal, so that we have great amounts of energy and inspiration and power moving forward. So it's really about getting back aligned with our true power. And I know power is a big word, but we all need power. We need power for our spiritual work. We need power for 3D work too. We need power. Our ego needs power in the world to succeed. But we also need, for these times, we're going to need a kind of spiritual power, a kind of really deep awakening of that well that we have within us. The lower well, the well of the water well, and then our fire and our willpower, as well as the compassion and the creativity of our heart, as well as the fire and the light of our mind. We're going to need these kinds of powers to navigate the changes that are happening on this planet. So we'll look at this axis of Leo and Aquarius, knowing that it's kind of a new energy rolling in. It will still be probably very action-packed, but I don't think it will be as heavy as was the past cycle. After that, we'll look at the planetary alignments. And so I just took a look at the at where all the planets are going to be at the time of the eclipse. And then what I do is I just tune in. I don't look at every single detail. At least I won't be presenting every single detail in this video. But what I do is I just kind of sit with it and I feel it. I work with the archetypes like I do in my work, and I let them start to talk to each other, which is brilliant. They are the true actors on the stage. And then I let them tell me what's happening, and tell me, what is the narrative, what's going on, what is the deep story, what is the seen story, and what is the unseen story, because there's always both. We always have what's seen, and then we have what's unseen. And so it's really, really important, and now I know what I need to say. It's really important to know that we have to remember that. We have to, in these times, remember that there's the show that's happening, but then there's the crew, and there's the cameraman, and there's the the stage dressers, and there's the technicians, and all of the other people, the directors that are really, really producing the show and putting it on. And so there's the behind the scene, and then there's what we see. And so we have to, now more than ever, we're being asked to look at both. So what I wanted to say is I forgot to say the title for the call, or for this live stream video. I called it The Law of Suggestion. The Law of Suggestion and Social Engineering. The Law of Suggestion and Social Engineering. And I wrote down a quick definition of social engineering, and I want to read it. All right, so social engineering. The use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. And I will read that one more time. The use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. Social engineering. And so social engineering goes along with the law of suggestion. And I can't wait to get into this. Leo is the desire force. Leo is the heart. It's passion. It's the sun. It's the sun within us. It's the human ego and the personality. It's the one that wants to be center stage. It wants to be seen. It's also compassionate and generous, because Leo shines its light. The sun shines its light out into the world. So we need the sun. We need this force. This is the Kundalini Shakti force as well. It represents the part of that force that is red, that is passionate, that is desire. And so this is the force. This is the force that governs our emotion, how we feel about things, but not how we feel about things like, let's say, cancer, the mother deep. That's more of a deep, deep emotion that bubbles up. And that gives us insight into things. Cancer is deep, and she feels, but she brings this thing up, and it's coming from the waters. Leo is fire, and Leo is more the little bit more of the surface, the surface fire, and the feeling and the readily available power we have through our emotions. So it's that thing that when you react, it's Leo. When you're in the pain body, like firing stuff off, it's that Leo energy. It's fiery, it's fast, and it directs the Shakti energy of the mother. And so, but it's coming through a male energy, because Leo has more of a male energy, even though it works very well with the feminine. So that archetype of Leo is strength, and it's the law of suggestion. It's the law of suggestion, and it's how we run that power. And that power is run through suggestion. That power is completely directed, manipulated, controlled, agitated, stimulated, inspired, aroused by suggestion, whether it's the suggestion coming from our own mind, whether it's the suggestion coming from our own thoughts or what we choose to look at, or whether it's being filtered into us, whether it's coming through social engineering or something like that. That is how the law of suggestion works, and we'll get into it. We're going to get into it a little more. So, yes. So also, the third part that I wanted to talk about is the law of suggestion and social engineering. We're going to break those down, talk a little bit about Hollywood, talk a little bit about the media, and talk a little bit about how we run our energy in this world. So we're going to look at, we're going to start by looking at the axis of Leo and Aquarius. So, all right. So Leo. So the eclipses follow the North Node. And so the North Node is still in Virgo, and that's why we have one more eclipse coming up in Pisces. Actually, we have the last eclipse, I believe it's the 25th of February, and that will be our last solar eclipse in Pisces, and then we close it out. So the North Node is in Virgo right now, and it's getting ready to move into Leo. So the eclipses follow the nodes of the moon. And so that is what determines where they are. So it will be moving, the North Node will be moving into Leo, which is interesting because we're in the age of Aquarius, and Leo is its opposite. And that's where our North Node is, which is usually on the collective level, it's a focus of what we need to cultivate and what we need to strengthen. So the North Node will be in Leo, the South Node will be in Aquarius. So Leo is the heart. And if you think of key 8 in the tarot, it's in some decks it's key 11, but that archetype usually has the lion and the goddess walking with the lion. The lion represents the power of this Kundalini force. It's the instinctual, it's an animal, so it's the instinctual power of Kundalini force as it manifests through the animal kingdom, through the fire of nature. So when you think of the fire that's behind nature, you think of what runs our instincts, our animal instincts. And so the lion represents the king of that kingdom. So Leo is the heart, it's the lion. It is charisma. So that ability, in the charisma can also be, it can also go along with the false light. And by the false light, I don't mean that the light of something real and beautiful is not real, but the false light is when a human ego manipulates something through their own desire force and makes something look really, really beautiful and tasty, and it cultivates, draws out a desire from those who see it. So anyone who witnesses this thing feels very drawn to it and very attracted, but they may be attracted through a false understanding, thinking that the thing is as beautiful on the inside as it is in the veil. And see, the thing about this world, the thing about this 3D world is that it's more than possible. It happens every day. It happens all the time that many things in our lives that look beautiful when the veil is lifted are not aligned with beauty, meaning their alignment is not with those things that we value with the heart. So it might not be aligned with life and with supporting life and love and with the involvement of wisdom and the heart and the positive force of our experience in this world. So let me see if I could, so this is an example. And so beauty is a powerful, intoxicating. Beauty and the feminine beauty through nature as it manifests through women as well as men is the most intoxicating, can be heart-opening, drawing power in this reality. It has the ability to paralyze us with awe. But beauty is a double-edged sword, because beauty can veil something very, very dark. There can be the intent to kill, the intent to harm, the intent to conquer and control. The intent to hurt can be veiled in beauty. And so there's all different kinds of examples of that. We even see it in art. It's what makes this world fun, is that there's so much to, everything isn't always as it seems. And so we're being called to use our discernment. So beauty works through the law of suggestion, because it's so suggestive, and it opens us and it disarms us. Beauty disarms, and that's why it's powerful. It can make people stand back and just start giving. We want to give to beauty. And there's beauty that we really benefit from giving to, and there's beauty that we need to stand back and evaluate a little bit deeper before we throw it all away. So Leo also represents the stage. It represents theater and the theater of life, and there's no greater power of suggestion than happens in the theater. It is theater. That this life is theater. And I have to say that after taking a month off, I took a month off social media, a month off my newsfeed. I checked in a couple times just for the big events, just to kind of see where everything was at. You start to realize the show that's happening. And once you understand that, you can participate on a new level. And that's what we want to get into today. It represents being in the spotlight. It represents passion, desire. It can represent addiction, because sometimes the overwhelm of the theater and the drama and the heart can take one into addiction. Leo's often associated with alcoholism or needing to numb out or escape because of all that. I mean, what do you think of when you think of Hollywood? When we think of the archetype of the star who became who went spiral downward because the fame and the energy that they're dealing with was just too much, and they were overcome with it and turned to addiction. That's a classic example. How theater can go hand in hand with that kind of use of things to medicate in our life. It represents the Kundalini force, the sun. The sun is also the center. So that's why it corresponds to the heart. The sun is the center of the solar system. And so even in astrology, in divine archetype astrology, the sun has a very, very special role to play. And the more we awaken and the more we really understand how everything works, the more we realize we want to stay in the sun. When we go into the level of consciousness that is through the heart, that opens the sun within us, the sun has the ability to transcend all negative transits and aspects that in our own birth chart, in the cycles as they change. To be in the sun means to be in the I am presence and to be in the now, and that's the true meaning of the sign of Leo, to do the alchemy in the heart and to hold the center. And that's why it corresponds to being center stage, because the sun is the center. And that being center stage can be associated with selfishness, with greediness, with narcissism is hugely associated with the kinds of the archetypal energies that show up in Leo. So it would be more of the shadow. Obviously, it's the shadow side and not the good, but it's that desire to be adorned for the ego, which is a huge problem in our world right now. It's one of the things we're facing, and it's one of the things that these eclipses are going to really rock. They're going to rock it. They're going to clear it out, and they're going to say, you know what? Use the heart, but use it for the alchemy. And that's going to show up when we look at the planets. All right, so courage, strength. You think of the power to take action, the power to stand up, the power of the heart. There is nothing greater. The power of the heart to stand up, but to stand up for real truth. Not through the power of manipulation, not from the power of suggestion coming from an outside source, from Hollywood or the media when it's used in the negative way, not in, not through social engineering, basically, but to act from truth. And that truth comes from a very Aquarius kind of energy, which is looking inward, which is understanding that meditation and contemplation is what brings up the real information. And that's why I took that time away, because I was shown that things are so crazy right now that you could absolutely throw your energy into one groove, because that there are forces everywhere pulling, tugging, agitating, hitting emotional triggers that want you to get into this groove or that groove and go. It's more interesting to stand back and understand it and lift the veil, lift the curtain on the backstage and find out who's running the show. So, all right. So we've covered some of the basics for Leo. Leo is the 8th month, so it also corresponds to Saturn. It corresponds to the archetype strength. And Leo is also, that sign strength is one of the key players in alchemy, in the inner alchemy that we talk a lot about at Art of the Feminine. So now we'll look at Aquarius, and we're looking at the archetypal energies of Aquarius. And so if anyone's new to this podcast, I'll just say that the work I do here, I've worked with the archetypes for so long in the Divine Feminine Wisdom that the reason we're doing this, we look at the archetypes and then we start to let them present a version of what's going on. This is one version, but I like to think that there is definitely a contribution that comes through in it. I feel there is. Leo's the sun. Okay, so Aquarius is key 17. It's the star. It has a deep, 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 deep connection to the goddess Aquarius. And we are entering the age of Aquarius, and this is really the age where we're healing the feminine in all of us. Now, there's a lot to say about that, and I might not be able to put too much into this video, but we'll do a video about that. Aquarius is related to the goddess in a very, very big way. Uranus is one of the ruling planets of Aquarius, and so Aquarius rules, this is big, technology, because remember, we're moving into this 2.5 year period where, aligned with 2017, 17 is the star, Aquarius, aligned with we're in Aquarius right now too, correct? Yes. So we're in the sign of Aquarius, and we're in the age of Aquarius. So Aquarius energy is very, very, very relevant right now. Technology. We are going to see new technology. The veil is lifting. There's going to be so much new technology on our planet. I think this year we'll be seeing new technology. Technology is part of this. It's part of this cycle we're in. So if you're a purist, and you believe that all technology is artificial intelligence, or all technology isn't bad and is robbing the soul, I don't quite agree with that, because this is the era of Aquarius, and Aquarius is about invention. It's about brilliance. It's about creating. We are going to develop, though, our own inner technology, our spiritual technology, which is as profound as any technology. I mean, they mirror each other. What we see on the outer is only a reflection of what we have available to us, but the two are almost going to compete with each other and go really fast, and things are going to speed up and accelerate. And I think we're going to see big things. Things that used to be an issue for us will one day no longer be an issue for us. So that's why it's really, really powerful right now to start putting your focus on what matters. Go to the depths. Don't be led around by social engineering. Look at what matters and keep your vision on that. Keep your vision on that until you harness enough power to project it into the world and play a profound role, because that is where the gold is. That is where it is. And Leo is gold. Leo represents gold. Leo also represents nobility. And this is about the new nobility of the human race. The kind of nobility that we were born to demonstrate. The real nobility that make us sons and daughters of this great source of love. Technology, invention, brotherly and sisterly love. Brotherhood and sisterhood. So Aquarius is about the group. It is about group consciousness, and it is about tuning into the group, not at the expense of the individual. This isn't about losing sight, because each person has a huge part to play, and each person is unique and has their own. This come from their own soul group that has their own contribution and is playing a part in this cycle that we're in of awakening. However, it's more than ever, we're also going to have our eyes on the group. You know, there's a feeling coming of really, and whenever there's change and whenever there's shock, I know this I've lived through it in many different situations. I know when 9/11 happened, I was teaching yoga across the street from the New York Stock Exchange. So I was in Manhattan when it happened. I mean, I there's a long story, but I left the actual site about 20 minutes before everything started to happen. So I was there, and I experienced all the different levels that happened right in my immediate world, having been so close to something that was so big. Change, and that was obviously a very, very unfortunate and terrible thing for all of us to have to live through. But I can tell you that when things change, people start to look around and see who's next to them. I mean, the truth is about in about 2 days, I knew every single person on my street. And if you know Manhattan, every street has everything you need. I mean, there's a deli, there's a dry cleaner, there's someone to fix your shoes, there's a boutique to shop at, there's a wonderful restaurant. Every single street has its own is its own little village. And so, but all of a sudden, within 1 week, probably, I knew the name of everyone at every place. And I had interacted with these people for years, but I knew some of them, but I didn't, but let me tell you, when something like that happens, you find out the name of the person next to you. You find out the name of the lady handing you your dry cleaning. You know, you ask the guy who's giving you your bagel, you know, what's his name and how's his family doing? You start to wake up to this gift that we have that we don't realize. We have a family. We have family surrounding us everywhere. And it's because of a block we have that we don't see it that way. And there are reasons. We have certain boundaries that we need to keep. We have a boundary of our home. We have a boundary. Boundaries are important too. And actually, I might say a thing or two about that, but that is coming in a future video. Boundaries are huge. It's important to know how to have boundaries, but still be part of the family and be part of the group. And so this age of Aquarius is about becoming acquainted with those people around you. You know, when you live around so many people, but you don't know your neighbor's name, and there's a reason for it. Everyone's become closed off and kind of shut down. And so the heart has shut down, but not anymore. Not with these Leo eclipses. The heart's going to be blasted wide open. But we are meant to start to call on our neighbors, start to think of people as family on a new level, and that can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I hope it does. Uniqueness. Aquarius is about the individual being very unique and having their own signature, but yet offering that uniqueness to the whole. Be unique, celebrate yourself, celebrate your gifts, go take it as far as you can, how different you are, but then give that gift through the power of the heart to the world. Which brings me to say something I've really been observing as well, that uniqueness, there's a lot of social engineering around this. Encouraging people to be different, encouraging people to break out of the norms and to express themselves. However, beware of frequency, because that is where it gets tricky. So with social engineering, it always takes something where there's truth, but then it clouds it in a lot of misinformation and a lot of information that takes what is pure and beautiful and takes it down. So we're seeing a lot of this happening. It's happening everywhere. I'm not sure how deeply I want to go into it. but certain groups are being targeted and used to kind of degrade humanity. It's not really for the purpose of expressing what's in the soul. Expressing what's in the soul and our own creativity and our expression is very, very important. But when something starts to enter into the realm of being socially engineered, that's where we get into trouble, because the forces that would like it to go in this direction are not, this centralized planning is not about truth. It's about control, and it's about manipulation. And so that's where we have to use our power and really take a step back, and it's where we work with our children, and it's where we work with our family and our relatives, and where we teach our children to express themselves and to be who they really are, but not to fall into something where there's so much anger and rage and hurting of the self, because a lot of these kinds of agendas are kind of teaching people to hurt themselves at the same time as a form of expression. So uniqueness, intellectualism, being very intellectual is very Aquarius too. It's an air sign, and it's as Leo is fire, but it's meant to be heady and intellectual. We're meant to use our intellect and use it with the heart. It's about friendship. Aquarius, this age of Aquarius is about friendship and loving our friends, and sometimes just getting over our own hang-ups and being a good friend to somebody, and softening some of our boundaries. Sometimes we need to strengthen some of our boundaries, but sometimes we need to soften our boundaries and just simply learn how to be friends and to have fun, to trust again, wisely, but to trust. It's about group consciousness, humanitarian, all humanitarian kinds of works, and it's about being unconventional too. It's about thinking outside the box. So be in your Aquarius energy as these eclipses roll in. Think outside. Think outside. And the box is 3D, by the way, the square. I can't do a real square. A square represents the 3D world. It's matter. The square represents matter. Think outside of matter. That's what that means. The triangle represents spirit, and it represents the life force. And so the triangle is life, the square is matter. We always want spirit to be working through matter. We don't want spirit to be held captive in matter, which describes a lot of what we see in our world right now, and the path of the soul. And I've done lots. In fact, I encourage you to go back. I did a podcast about the soul's journey through the underworld, but we really have gone through the underworld, where our soul, our free energy, our spirit, that energy that is divine and that is so intellectual, so creative, so brilliant, can solve any problem, has been held. And the more we lift the veil, the more we see how it's been held. It's quite simple. It's quite simple, but the thing is that if somebody can't see it, they can't see it. That's the thing with humans and 3D humans. It's that if your mind has not opened to something, you could have the truth right in front of you, 2 inches in front of your nose, and you won't recognize it. And so that's kind of what we're dealing with, that there is so much there's been so many levels of veils and deception, and the deception really came up in the Pisces eclipses, but we're starting to flesh some of the deception out. We're going to see more and more and more of that. But as people wake up and their heart is more available and their intellect is more what we are talking about here, brilliant, outside the box, their minds can say, oh, yes, I get it. I see it. Wow, I can't believe this has been happening all along. That's what this is about. So the feeling that I mostly feel for this cycle is lifting the veil. We talk about that a lot. It's nothing new, but lifting the veil is what we need to do right now. And so what does that mean? That means that you got to keep digging. You got to keep lifting. You've got to keep searching. Don't, I'll give you an example. So, it doesn't mean you have to be suspicious of everything. I'm not talking about being a doubter with everything. And although questioning everything is good, but when you have a creative mind and when you really want to know, look at all the narratives that are going on. And I know I'm pretty, I keep up with everything. I have periods where I step back and I try to stay away from anything mainstream or any mainstream media, or you know, because you have to. There's a time where you have to reboot and regenerate. But I watch, I keep up with just about everything for periods of time and really go into it with all the mainstream media, all the alternative media, all of the truthers, all of the, I mean, I look at all of it. And I have, part of one of my gifts is a gift for information, sorting it and taking it, and kind of like a computer mind, and just keep looking at all of it. And you have to be pretty detached to be able to process this much, because it's a lot. But and then start to see the patterns. So what are the patterns? What you start to feel, to be objective, use reason. What is going on here? And there's so much that you can be discovered. One of the things that you will discover is that lies are all around us, bigger lies than we think. And these outlets don't hesitate for a moment to lie, which is kind of sad, but it's true. I mean, lies, hey, it's, you know, it's how we do social engineering. And we've had the science on social engineering. We've had the psychology on social engineering for a long time. It is nothing new on this planet. We have perfected it. And now adding new technology to it, as is happening, the new technology is only taking it to greater and greater and greater levels. So social engineering is at play in all of these things. And you get to see how the desire force, that's what I'm really interested in, how the desire force streams through all of it, how people catch waves of passion and just run with something, and how sometimes that crashes. Even in the alternative media, even in the truth movement, there are certain waves that come in that can destroy and overwhelm those movements as well. So it's nice to just kind of be aware of that, and then be able to discern. Take what's good for you and build on that. How does that information and that information work for what you are here to do? Take the information, develop it, and use it for what will make you better, and what will make you more powerful, and what will bring more love into your life. That, I believe, is a good use of it. So hopefully one day we'll have a more accurate representation of what's really happening. However, Aquarius doesn't need it. The star archetype doesn't need to be told from the outside what's going on. And that's our ultimate goal. We can look inward and process through the Akashic, through internally, and receive the wisdom. We do have to step back, and that's why I stepped back for about over a month, because there's sometimes when you have to go really deep, and then you'll get a new access to what's happening. We have to step back sometimes. So you take all this stuff in, but it's absolutely required. The star archetype means revelation, but it means meditation. It means to go inward, speak to the solar force, the divine light that's within you, have it go through your consciousness. Your consciousness is only mirroring with what's on the outside. Your consciousness on the inside is connected to everything that's on the outside. However, when you're on your own inner consciousness, you have way more authority than when you're being led around and you give up your power. You lose something really important. All right. So let's look at the planets. Let's look at the action. I got to book through this now. I know it went pretty deep. All right. So the biggest thing that's happening at this eclipse on Friday is what is a T-square, a cardinal T-square with Pluto in Capricorn, the sign of the patriarchy, the sign of the father. Pluto's in Capricorn. It has been for years. It will be for years to continue. At this profound time in our ascension, in our waking up, Pluto in Capricorn is regenerating the male force. It's taking the father force. It's taking the patriarch. It's taking religious establishments and institutions, and even as far as the archontic forces and the darker forces that have infiltrated our planet fall under that. And so that whole story is being regenerated. Pluto regenerates. It regenerates power. It looks at sexual power. It looks at life and death. It looks at life and death and rebirth. It's death and rebirth through issues of power, and that's exactly what's happening in our world right now. And when I say the patriarchy, I don't mean it in any way as an attack against men or the male force. It's just meaning the father force in 3D governing, and some of the imbalances that have come through that. So some of the shadow side that's come through it, and the good side too. We are meant to regenerate and have the power of Capricorn. So Pluto's in Capricorn at 18 degrees. Uranus is in Aries, another male sign. Aries is the emperor. So we've got Capricorn, the male, the patriarchy, and Aries is represented by the emperor. It's vision, it's reason. The true Aries energy is about having reason and having clear vision. Uranus is there. Uranus rules Aquarius. It rules technology. It rules invention. It rules sudden change and revolution. It rules waking up. It rules sudden shifts, enlightenment. So Uranus squaring Pluto. Pluto's in Capricorn. Uranus at 21 degrees in Aries. So across from Aries in Jupiter, the sign of justice, or in Libra, the sign of justice, we have Jupiter. Jupiter and Uranus, these big archetypal energies, are opposing each other and working together. Jupiter expands. Jupiter is also love and compassion and material wealth and spiritual wealth. Jupiter is all forms of water and expansion, and it rules Sagittarius, which is fire, but in some of the deeper esoteric teachings, it's water. It's the ability to use the elementals of the mother and to create. It's about abundance. It's about growing something. So we have Uranus saying, wake up, smell the coffee, invent something, make change. Jupiter saying, let's make that change about growing something. Let's give lots of resources. Let's make it about love. Let's make it about compassion. Let's make it about new understanding. And but it's being checked, because then it has Pluto squaring both of those. Pluto is squaring, we've had the Uranus-Pluto square for years, and there's been so much movement. We are here right now because of what happened during those years, and that Uranus Pluto square has brought about a lot of change for us, a lot of shift on this planet. So right now, though, in a T square, we have Uranus in Aries, Capricorn is Pluto, and Jupiter in Libra. Libra is justice. So we can't go without saying that that Jupiter is focused on justice right now. It's focused on justice. How amazing is that? Justice in Jupiter, in Libra. Justice, like big justice. Libra is justice. It's the sign of justice in the tarot. It's the archetype. It's Lamed. It's to teach and to learn and to hold that balance of the scales. Saying, all right, Capricorn, male patriarchal energy on this planet, let's regenerate. It's time. I'm going to egg you on. I'm going to push you. I'm going to square you. Let's do this. Let's get this thing moving on our planet. Let's change it. And then Uranus in the picture, just fueling the shift, saying, okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. We're going to get moments of fast movement, and then it might go really slow again, and then it might go fast again. But there's going to be brilliance, and there's going to be shift for sure. So I found I hadn't been following Vesta as much, but Vesta completes this square. Vesta is right across from Pluto. It's a loose square, because all of these are just within a few degrees of each other. But Vesta, the goddess asteroid Vesta, this is big. Vesta is about transmuting sexual energy. It's about initiation. It's about hard work, sublimation of the sexual energy, and using that fire of Leo, the passion, the fire, the arousal of that force for spiritual work and to accomplish something. So sometimes, our sexual energy is wonderful, but what humanity has lost is the ability to use sexual energy to create absolutely everything we want. It's not always literal sexual energy, as in two humans merging together, but our own inner divine male and female, and how we work that energy, how we raise up that, how we arouse the goddess force and she comes up and we use it. We focus it and we're able to create. So the Vesta is the Vestal virgins. They were the keepers of the flame, the fire. It's the Kundalini fire. It's the goddess fire in the temples. They were also the muses. They were so divine and so beautiful and tender, and many of them very young, but they were used to use their presence to evoke profound awe of their beauty, to awaken that force, because beauty can awaken the sexual force as well, and awe, but then to use that force for spiritual work. And I've heard all kinds of stories about different ways that energy was used, and of course there's always going to be some that took the shadow route, and we're seeing that on our planet right now with that type of young innocent energy. However, Vesta is in this picture. She's in a square. She's across from Pluto, huge, squaring Uranus and squaring Jupiter. So that I found to be Vesta, VE, like Venus, VE. They both have strong goddess energy. Let me see if I jotted anything else down about her. Yeah, this is a time when we need to remember things. So if you look out into the programming, and I think this is what I really want to say, the programming does the exact opposite. And that's what we have to know. This programming that we live in harnesses our sexual desire and puts it to the common denominator, puts it to the base, sends it straight down. Hollywood. Oh yeah, we got to talk about Hollywood before we're over, because Hollywood is one of the controllers. So is the media. And so obviously we have to say it. Of course, we love both because both are very valuable to us and both can be used for the light, but they're two huge tools of social engineering, if not the tools, aside from religion and government and how that can be used. So, all right, so Vesta, yeah, and it looks like Eros was in there too. Eros representing our sexual energy over there in Aries next to Uranus. So that's more like our overt sexual energy. So Vesta saying sublimate your energy, squaring Eros, that's talking about the quality of our sexuality and learning how to have it. Those two are having a conversation saying, you know what? And they're having the conversation with Pluto in Capricorn and the patriarchy, having the conversation with Jupiter in Libra in justice, and saying it's time. It is time, humanity, to claim what is yours and to claim it through love. In order to use the dark knows how to use these energies very well. They know how to use them and are using them. So they're very educated in all of this and understand this. It's the mainstream of humanity that doesn't quite get this. And because it's been so manipulated, because we have so much misuse of the sacred archetypes and of the sacred symbolism, which is our divine birthright. Again, when you look at all of the stuff going around, if you follow anything about the Illuminati or any of the Cabal, any of these dark forces that are on our planet, there's all kinds of the divine symbolism used in them, but it's being used for the dark. And that's another, we'll go deeper into that at another time. It's being used to channel it away from life. This channel and what we're talking about is about awakening consciousness, uplifting, and beginning to heal and come into our true power. We don't need the diluted dark power. It's no fun. We want to move beyond this dimension, and with that power, we're not going too far. We're going deeper into bondage. So, all right. So this is about how we run our energy. Okay. So in the last couple minutes. Leo is also lust, by the way, and because lust is one of the archetypal qualities of that. So meaning lust can be used through suggestion. It's a powerful, powerful thing that lust is. And I know all the, I have all the numbers on these things. When you see the numbers and how they match up with the archetypes, it would blow you away. Through the laws of correspondence and through letters and through sounds and through numbers and colors, all of this material world is talking to us. It's the goddess. And so as we learn to read deeper than the programming, our world becomes, our heart opens. And it's not about being bound to those things, because we can become addicted to those tools as well. Because in the end, you have to put it all down and you have to just be in the moment. However, having the tools available to us are very, very, very useful and fun and creative. So Hollywood. So Hollywood. So Hollywood is celebrity. It's Leo. I mean, every celebrity has Leo energy, and believe it or not, if you look up, many of them are Leo. And Hollywood uses the law of suggestion. I mean, one movie can change our planet overnight. Overnight. And so look at why some movies get the big bucks and some don't. There are light forces working through Hollywood. They're everywhere. We have dark and light everywhere. However, the majority of what we have been fed through the programming has had an agenda to take away power from humans. Give a little truth, touch the emotions, make us cry a little bit, make us love each other, make us be all over romance, because romance in its unawakened form is the glue that holds us here. I mean, we crave romance. Love addiction is one of the huge things on our planet right now. Love, romance that stops at sex and at the physical and at what you can give me and what I can give you, that level of romance, and sort of the cliche romance. However, there's great romance too. And we still like the mainstream romances as well, because they touch us. However, there's always more than one thing happening at once. And so Hollywood is a fantastic tool. And so there's a very, very reason why when we learned, I've written a lot about this. In fact, I'm really enjoying this, this time, because so much is being revealed. So we have to understand that the human drama is controlled by the Hollywood drama. And so use discernment, have fun with it, but look at what's going on. It can be like a drug, and the whole celebrity, you know, celebrity culture and what is happening on this earth. I mean, it's hitting places that are beyond. It's hitting where it was meant to hit. The people who wanted to control through Hollywood are exactly where they want to be. The whole celebrity culture, what we see going on, I'm not even going to get into any names right now, because I'm sure you have nothing, you can access it so easily. There is very, very dark things being run through, and being run through the young actors and actresses. They're being used. Some of them know it and some of them don't. So it's not everyone, but there's a lot of that there. And the message they're sending is not of the heart. It's not of the heart. It's not of wisdom. We come in this culture, oh, it's okay. It's Hollywood. It's, come on, have fun. It's like, this is what's in right now. Loosen up. Take a chill pill. Like, and we've gone past that. The programming is so deep now that it's very worth it to know, you know, to know what your children are into, to know what they're watching. I know I talk to my son very closely. He's brilliant. He's so smart. I love it. He can see it all. And yet I don't make him not watch things or not engage. He gets a little bit of everything, but I'm watching him and coaching him along and having a good conversation with him. And it's that generation is going to be, they're going to reinvent Hollywood. So it's not, so they need to know what's going on, if they're interested. So yeah, we project, last thing. So this is another thing. I'm going to give an example of social engineering. And so as always, I bring in what comes in through this stream, but it's only one way to look at it. And so I ask you to always take what serves you and what doesn't. There's going to be someone else that's got it the way you need it. So the projections, the stereotypes that we see on our planet, the racial stereotypes and the male, female, masculine, feminine stereotypes are projected through the media and through Hollywood. It's not natural. It's not an organic thing. All of this, we have humans and people who are different from each other naturally can get uncomfortable with each other. Naturally, if you believe this, I believe this. If you look like this, it's natural. But I work with people all over the world, all different races, all different religions, all different ages. I've lived in big cities. I was in New York City for years, rode the subway with, 20 different races right in front of me, interacting, talking, saying good morning, getting up, giving each other their seat. You live on one street in Manhattan, and every shop you go into is run by a different culture, and there you definitely can feel the differences. Some things might appeal to you, some might turn you off, but people don't generally have so much disgust towards each other. It's not natural. Most human beings are okay with differences. They're okay. They might admit, this makes me a little nervous. I feel a little nervous around these groups. I feel like I might be in trouble, but that's okay. That's human. And also we're meant to call upon our intuition and know. Sometimes we have a deep message saying, you know what, this isn't the right situation for you to be in, get out. Well, if it would just happen to be a situation where there was someone that was of a different race, you might be considered racist. But there comes a point where we have to use spiritual maturity and know that sometimes, all the time, we need to follow what's right for us without hurting anybody. The projections that we're getting in Hollywood and on the news are very deliberate, and they are are creating huge, huge conflicts where there should not be any, where we should have much more progress. And so just start to pay attention to that. That agenda of keeping certain fights alive is in the interest of control, of the interest of keeping discord, keeping chaos, and keeping people bound to something that's not true. And that's why even some, news outlets that are trying to be alternative need to even look deeper. There's more to be said. And you got to hand it to the ones that are looking deeper. There's never been a time, and I'm going to close out now, that it was more important to lift the veil. Lift it everywhere you go, and don't be satisfied. Don't think you've lifted it once. You've got to lift it 22 times for the 22 archetypes. You've got to ask questions. You've got to look inside, stand back, feel where you're at, take the time, and come and share information with people, but share it with wisdom. And as we unfold more of these eclipses, we'll be looking at that. So thank you for this podcast. I never say this, but I know I want to say, please feel free to subscribe to this channel, to like the podcast. There's a like button, and to share it if you enjoyed it. And also, if you would like to, I didn't put the link down there today. I didn't get to it. But if you would like to do a private session with me, that's one of the things I do. It's one of the most enjoyable ways that I get to spend my time and make part of my living, that I work one-on-one with people. I work with the divine archetypes and the divine feminine wisdom. It's a dance between the two. It's very deep, can be incredibly powerful in any of the areas you might think. Most people come around love. It's one of the biggest things around relationships, but also around this, if you want to work on this type of work as well, please feel free to get in touch with me. I'll try to get a link down there, and you can check out Art of the Feminine is my website, and the Art of the Feminine Facebook. And I just want to say it's really good to be back, and I've enjoyed connecting with you again. And so sending you lots of love for this coming eclipse and this coming full moon on Friday.